Hey guys, my name is Yohan, and welcome to my channel, Yo Frags. Thank you all for being here with me, and today we will be talking about Mind Games En Prise. I love this house. I'm a sucker for good presentation. I think the creativity they show in the bottle designs is top notch. I'm a sucker for chess as well, so as soon as I found out that they were heavily inspired by chess and chess pieces, I looked at all their bottles and wow. I mean, I think this one and Grandmaster are my favorite bottle designs, but they're just so cool. Like, it's just, if anything, right, I think they're just nice to have as display. Also comes in a nice box, it's fancy cardboard, right? Nice reflective silver. I'm a sucker for silver. Got the ingredients and whatnot and the information. Oh, actually, here it just has, see. Also some nice velvet in here, keeps your fragrance nice and snug. Use my runny nose. Allergies have been acting up today. But time to get to the most important thing about a fragrance, right? The scent. The top notes we have here are ginger, bergamot. That's really all I get off my skin at least, but I think listed on their pamphlet in Fragrantica is saffron. In the mid we have cassis, sugar, and geranium. In the base we have cedar, Madagascar vetiver, and oak moss. For me, this scent kind of reminds me of like a very effervescent soda. Like the way the ginger and the bergamot combine plus that sugar note, like off my skin immediately I just get like a very bubbly soda, very effervescent, very fresh, uplifting. The dry down on the other hand, it's kind of weird. Like I say this in a not in a like a bashing way, but the dry down for me, I don't particularly like it as much as the opening. The dry down for me kind of reminds me more of like a cream soda or like decarbonated soda, if that makes sense, where it feels heavier. You don't get that uplifting, that bubbliness that you get in the top from here. Like it's kind of like you opened up a can of Sprite, right, and then you just leave it out for a couple hours, and then that's kind of what it reminds me of. Not saying it's bad, but for me, I think I love the first couple hours of this fragrance a lot more than the dry down. Longevity though, I think like most Mind Games fragrances, 10 plus hours on my skin with moderate to okay projection. On my skin, honestly, it is very hard for me to get radiance and projection. I don't know if it's all the tattoos, just my skin chemistry in general. I believe it really emphasizes the darker notes and it kind of eats a lot of that radiance and kind of settles it down more and keeps it closer to skin. At least for me, that's what I've noticed for my how my skin reacts to certain fragrances. But for the first 2 hours, this pushes off pretty nice on my skin, and then after that, it's kind of like a close scent bubble. After the 6 hour mark, it's really just a skin scent after that. But I never, if I put my nose to it, right, like I will always smell it. It's always present, but it doesn't push off in after the first like hour or so, which I can't be too mad about. It's a very versatile fragrance, good for all occasions. I think it can be a little cloying in the super super high heat just because that sugar and that almost like kind of reminds me of like a light molasses where it's almost syrupy, not in like the pancake syrup but more like sugar cane. That's like the best way I could describe it. I think they do a really good job in creating something unique, but also at the same time, like it smells like an elevated designer scent. I think they did a wonderful job creating a fragrance that is mass appealing. Nothing wrong with that, right? I think it's a very good compliment getter. But for me, if I could go back in time and not purchase this bottle, definitely wouldn't And I bought this discounted from a trusted seller. I didn't even pay retail, which, kind of the elephant in the room. Retail, these bottles go for like $375, not including tax. Yeah, that's steep. And I always try to remind myself to tread very carefully, because I don't feel that I have the knowledge and or right to say that a perfumer or a fragrance company, that their work isn't worth what they've priced it at. But for me personally, I don't believe that these fragrances are worth it retail. And I have Mind Games. I would buy that again, but I also got that at a discounted price. I would never pay that retail price for them. And my reasoning being is just $375 for a fragrance. Like, you really expect the highest quality of natural ingredients, right? You expect uniqueness, boldness, depending on what you're going for, right? But with En Prise specifically, I would not purchase this bottle again. Like, I paid around $220 for it. And even then, I was kind of like, man, I love what it does on my skin the first 2 hours, but after that, for me, like, I think like a 10 milliliter decant would be more than enough. That I don't see myself reaching for this. On my skin, like in this high heat that we're going through right now, it's too sugary. The uplifting ginger and bergamot doesn't last long enough. It doesn't carry throughout the entire life of the fragrance for me to really consider wearing this in the high heat. Maybe spring, but the sugar note, like that sugariness and that dry down where it kind of turns into like a cream soda because of the woody notes. Yeah, it feels too heavy in the dry down for spring or summer, but then it also doesn't feel heavy enough for fall and winter. So it kind of falls in this weird gray area for me personally and for my skin chemistry, where I don't know when or where and what season I would reach for this from. And I say that, but I do believe it's versatile because it can be worn in all those seasons. And I don't think you could go wrong with it. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't think, let me say this. I think that this fragrance doesn't do one season very good, and it does all seasons average. Like, I don't think this excels in any single season. I don't think it's great in the winter. I don't think it's great in the spring. I don't think it's great in the summer. I don't think it's great in the fall. There are other fragrances for those occasions where I would just gravitate to more. Spring is probably the most optimal time to wear this, where it's still slightly chilly, but it's still kind of warm enough to where, you can kind of pull off some darker scents while not be too cloying in the heat. But again, like, I have other fragrances where I just enjoy more during those times. And it breaks my heart because I love the bottle. I love the idea. I love the first couple hours of this scent on my skin. But it just dries down super flat for me. And if I paid full retail $375 for that, I would be very disappointed. And I only paid $220. And even then, I'm just like, man, that's a lot to spend on a fragrance where I think doesn't work well on me. And again, right, all these things I said are very opinionated, right? It's all my own perspective, very subjective. It may work great on your skin. It may work great for you in all occasions. And that's why I always stress, try before you buy. I did try this. I got a decant, but I think I jumped the gun too much, or I jumped the gun too early. I think I should have tested this more. And, I want to give it its fair shot. I do want to continue wearing it and see, maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe I'll develop, and learn to appreciate this scent more. But that only comes with time, right? And shout out to Justin Copeland. I think I've talked about this in another video, but I think I really want to see how this smells, and the essence that I get just from wearing it out. Not just like sniffing super up close all day and saying, it's not for me. I think I need to spend more time with it, and I need to see how it behaves on my skin just in everyday wear. I will be giving this some more opportunities, trying it out more, and then hopefully whether or not I'll know if I need to off. Regardless, try before you buy. All these are opinions. If you love this scent, that's amazing. For me personally, I don't think it's working as of right now. Maybe my mind will change. But thank you so much for joining me. Have a good night. Stay safe, and God bless.